This ship surprised me in ways I didn't expect. Some good, some not so good. Let me show you what stood out the most. In this video, I'm sharing what really surprised me on my recent cruise aboard the Carnival Celebration. If you're thinking this ship is all water slides and party decks, think again. I'm going to dig into what worked, what didn't, and what might matter most to travelers over 50 who are looking for a more refined experience at sea. Stick around until the end because one of the biggest surprises came in a quiet spot almost no one talks about. It ended up being one of our favorite places on the ship. First impressions and embarkation. We expected the check-in and boarding to feel like a zoo, but it was surprisingly smooth. Carnival's terminal setup in Miami is pretty efficient. The biggest, I don't want to say challenge, but the biggest issue we had was the fact that, where were we at? Terminal F. I think it was Terminal F. There's no parking garage at Terminal F in Miami. So we dropped off the bags. There's 4 of us on the trip. Myself, my wife, my best friend, and his wife. So we dropped off the luggage, and then we actually dropped off our wives as well. And my friend and I went down. We drove down, so we had to park the car. So we drove down to Terminal G, parked in Terminal G, and then we walked back. It was maybe a 10-minute walk. Not that big of a deal. Honestly, that was the worst part of embarkation. We were there early. Our embarkation time was, I believe, 12 o'clock. We got there about 11:15 because, surprisingly, Miami port traffic was not as bad as expected. So we walked up, we showed them our passes. They had 2 lines, check-in and then too early. So we went in the too early line. Obviously, well, they guided us there. We would have just went ahead, but they guided us there. And I don't know if there was a confusion of signals or what, but we were on board the ship in like 10 minutes. We got into a line and we went up an escalator, and there was a man standing at the top of the escalator basically saying, if you need to talk with guest services, so, if your check-in is not complete, go in this line. If everything is complete, go in this line. So we had checked in on board. We had everything taken care of. We went in the line he indicated for no check-in, and there was maybe 20 of us. They had the drug sniffing dog come, or bomb sniffing dog, or the customs dog right there. He walked by us, sniffed all our stuff, and they said, "Okay, welcome aboard." We went down a hallway, turned left, turned right, and we're actually getting on the ship. It was arguably the fastest embarkation I've ever experienced, which is really nice. I mean, drop off to walking aboard, maybe 30 minutes, like worst case, and that included, when we dropped off our luggage and our wives to parking, walking back, and getting on. It was nice. The energy on when you step on board is pretty electric, but not chaotic. There's upbeat music, smiling crew everywhere, guiding you, there to ask questions. Okay, where do I go for this? Where do I go for that? Because, I've never been on this ship before, so I don't know the layout. I've looked it up and I've studied it, but that's not quite the same as being on board. We embarked on deck 6. We actually had to go up to, I believe it was 7, to Bonsai Sushi, where our muster station was. My wife and I, we're very strict about it. Walk on board, muster station, get that done, over with. I don't want to deal with that. So we did that. We got that taken care of real quick. The atrium is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you walk in, you're basically right there at what do they call it? Celebration Station, I believe. Basically, it's a stage that's 3 floors tall. There's seating all around. It was interesting. The layout was kind of a surprise. Even though I studied it, didn't really translate in my mind until we were on board. Decks 6, 7, and 8 are where, just like most ships, there's 3 decks there in the center of the ship where pretty much all of your food, your casino, the shows, the bars, the restaurants, all of that stuff is. And then, of course, you got the pool deck, plural. Deck 16, 17, where all that stuff is. All right, you get on most ships, and you kind of walk down. You're on promenade deck, and you kind of walk right down the middle of the ship, and you've got shops and restaurants on either side, and it just goes straight from the front of the ship to the back of the ship. Not on the Celebration. The Celebration, you kind of curve around, and it's almost like an S shape, and because they kind of optimize that space so that you've got bars and restaurants kind of on both sides, and then you go around the corner and then there's a room for another restaurant over there. It's very different. Honestly, it took me 2 days to kind of get a feel for it, which is honestly longer than usual, because usually by the end of that first night, I'm usually pretty good with where everything's laid out. This one, because of that, the turns, it was a little different. One of the things about this ship, there seemed to be staff everywhere. Now, some of them were friendlier than others, obviously, but never had an issue asking somebody where I needed to go for this, where that was. They were very helpful. Stateroom. We chose a standard interior stateroom. We actually got this cruise. My wife likes to gamble. Well, actually, we like to gamble. She got this cruise for free from one of the local casinos. So we chose an interior stateroom. Our friends were literally connecting cabin right next door to us. Typical interior cabins, no special upgrades. Decent size. My wife and I did not have an issue for, an 8-night cruise. Plenty of room for everything. It was clean. It was definitely modern. The ship's only a couple of years old, so it didn't have a lot of that wear and tear you see on other ships. It was pretty spacious. There was plenty of storage between the drawers, the shelves, the closet. We did not have any issues, storing clothing. Actually, it was like this, I think the second to last day of the cruise. And the hallway that we would, to walk down to get to our room, we were up on 14. Overhead in the hallway, there was a sign that said ironing room. And I passed it for the entire, we got on board on a Saturday, and I swear it was probably Friday. And when it finally clicked, I'm like, wait a minute. And I turned the knob on this door and open it up, and inside there's 2 full-size ironing boards with irons right there for the guests to use. It was for the guest usage. I'm like, that's pretty amazing. I don't think I've ever seen an ironing room on any of the ships I've been on, whether it be Virgin or the multiple Carnival, multiple Royal Caribbean, the Celebrity. I don't remember ever seeing an ironing room before. Now, of course, by that point, all of our formal nights were over, so I didn't need it, but I thought that was a great extra touch. I absolutely loved that. Anyway, back to the stateroom. The bed, comfortable, not too soft, not too firm. Light switches right there by the bedside, USB ports right there, full-length mirror in the one closet. Standard interior room. It was nicely decorated. It was still new. The bathroom, typical cruise cabin bathroom. I did like the fact that it had a door and not a curtain. But besides that, normal size. Our room attendant, Goosty, absolutely amazing. We had no issues. We had towel animals every day. He was arguably, it seemed like he never left the hallway outside of our room, because anytime we came out to, to leave for the day or coming back to get ready for dinner or whatever, it seemed like he was always right there. Very friendly, very, very helpful. Any little thing we needed, he went out of his way. The room was great. Some hits and misses here. It was lots of variety. I will give them that. There is lots of variety. Every night for dinner, we dined in the main dining room. That's what we do. We enjoy the main dining room experience. We did the early dining at 5:30 because we prefer to eat earlier. We had consistently good service. We had consistently good food. I tried, on average, I had 2 appetizers and an entree, or an entree and 2 an appetizer and 2 entrees every night. I didn't finish all of that food, but I wanted to taste so many different things. The escargot, delicious. My wife loves French onion soup. Outdid themselves. Our server, Vimal, was absolutely amazing. Knew our names at the end of the day, the first day. Knew our drink preferences. Even me switching up between vodka tonics and old fashions, he was right on top of it. I asked him if he could get me some little bit of vanilla ice cream and a little bit of peanut butter to go with the molten lava chocolate cake. Absolutely love that. Not a big fan of the lava cake by itself, but when you add in a little ice cream and a little peanut butter, to die for. The buffet, my wife and I, we only ate at the buffet for breakfast. We didn't eat there any other time of the day. Breakfast was fine. Nothing really great or nothing really awful. It filled our bellies, which is pretty much all we want for breakfast. My friends did go to the buffet for lunch one day, and they were not thrilled with it, but I wasn't there, so I don't know what the issue was. We did pretty much all of our lunches between either Guy's Burger Joint, the Smokehouse, Shaq's, I don't remember what it's called, but Shaq's Chicken Place, and the Street Eats area. Absolutely delicious. I'm a big Guy's Burger fan, so I would have been happy just having Guy's Burgers all day. My wife loves her chicken, so that's why we did Shaq's a couple times. The Street Eats were good because they had bao buns, they had street corn, they had a couple of changed every day, 2 or 3 different options, and they change daily. I mean, good food, quick and easy. We didn't hit any of well, actually, no, that's not true. We went to Cucina del Capitano for lunch one day, one of the sea days, and that we enjoyed that. The pasta carbonara was delicious, great portion, not too much, not too little. Yeah, I thought the food was really good. Actually, I thought the food was better than on the other two Carnival cruises that I've been on. The entertainment, I'll be quite honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the entertainment on Carnival ships. The shows in the main theater, it was a lot of, like one-man band type shows, things like that. There weren't a whole lot of productions, like Broadway type productions. I get it, that's not their thing, I understand that. But the three shows we saw in the main theater were only okay to me. We went to the piano bar because we had a blast at the piano bar on the Sunrise. This one, we went there one night. We stayed for 2 full sets. The singer was talented, and what irritated us was he asked for requests, and we gave him 2 requests, and we gave him a tip for each of the requests. We stayed, and this was maybe midway through the first set. We stayed till the end of the second set, and he hadn't played any of them. And that kind of irritated us. So we left and didn't go back. What else? The comedy shows. It feels to me like Carnival really focuses on their comedy shows. So the Punchliner Comedy Club on board this ship wasn't being used for comedy because it was being used by the $1 million slot tournament that was going on. So they moved the comedy shows to the Limelight Lounge. And we went to several different comedy shows throughout the week, and they were all funny. All the comedians were good. We enjoyed the comedians. What we didn't enjoy was if it was a 9 o'clock show, you had to be in line before 8:30 to get a seat. I enjoy comedians, but not enough to waste 30 to 45 minutes of my night to see them. So, we did a couple, but we didn't really spend a whole lot of time there. One unexpected highlight was the Celebration Central stage. As I mentioned earlier, it's built in the ship's atrium. It's open for three levels, deck 6, 7, and 8, and there's seating at each of the 3 levels. They had the Deal or No Deal there. They had bingo there several times. They had several different shows. We were actually there for the one circus show they did, and the circus part of it was okay. It was a little bit cheesy, but there's 3 performers that performed songs at the end, like the last 20 minutes. Their voices were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Enjoyed the casino. We actually played more in this casino than I think we've gambled on any other cruise line we've been on, and didn't lose our shirt, so we were happy with that. So entertainment-wise, enjoyed it, but we're unfortunately, maybe not unfortunately, but we still favor the entertainment on the Oasis class Royal Caribbean ships. There seems to be more entertainment that we enjoy on those ships than on the Carnival ships that we've been on so far. Now, don't get me wrong, what we enjoy you might not enjoy, so don't not go on this ship because of that. Okay, this ship is big. That's arguably one of the main reasons we went on it, because my wife and I have been on 2 Carnival cruises before on smaller, older ships. I wanted to experience a newer ship, a larger ship. So we picked this one because it was going to the ABC Islands. My friends had never been there. But we wanted to go with them together, and it was a newer, big ship, so that's why we chose it. There are several quiet-ish corners that you can find throughout the ship. The cruise was sold out, and it certainly felt like it. It was the $1 million cruise tournament, and when we booked it, we didn't realize it was the $1 million cruise tournament, but because of that, more gamblers on this ship than I think ever seen on a single cruise before, and it showed. The Serenity deck, could never find a seat. We tried a half a dozen times. The pool was packed. The main pools were packed, all of them. It felt crowded, unfortunately, and I don't usually I don't feel that way. Usually we're able to find some place to chill out and just relax, but unfortunately we didn't really find that. So my final takeaway: who is the ship for? Is Carnival Celebration right for everybody? Probably not. If you're looking for white glove service, luxury suites, private yacht vibes, this ship isn't going to check all of those boxes. Yes, they do have suites. It's just It's more mass market. Nothing wrong with that. We enjoyed it. If I was given another opportunity to go back on it, I probably would. If you want variety, color, energy, and the ability to tell your day, the ship will give you those options. You just have to know where you want to go, what you want to see. Seek out some of those quieter venues, dine outside of peak times, build in some time just to be on the ship and just to relax. The cruise ship surprised us by showing us that big ships can deliver some meaningful personal moments. You just have to know where to look. I hope I'm not coming across this if I would never go on the Celebration again. That's not true. I would. It was disappointed in some of the things that occurred. That's all. If you really want that mix of activity and fun and a little bit of elegance, the Celebration will fit that bill. Now that you know what surprised me most about the Celebration, you might be wondering what kind of cruise experience fits best for couples over 50 who are all about culture, calm, and connection. That's exactly what we'll explore in my next video. Why river cruising is the best way to see Europe after 50. So if you're looking for something slower paced, enriching, you don't want to miss this one.